Wow, what a difference 1 month makes in the condo market. Numbers are in for Calypso for August 2022. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group over at Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices. We knew going into the month of August, well, let me back up. So July, we knew July can be a slow, sluggish month for condo sales. So many units are rented that it's hard for buyers who are serious about buying a condo to get in and really evaluate everything that they may want to take a look at. So it wasn't surprising to see the market soften further in July, and not only because of what has been happening overall economically, but the month of July generally can be a slower month for condo sales. I was very interested to see these numbers, to look at August, to see if we were continuing on a trend of really, really softening, or if we would see a little bit of a pickup that we sometimes see August, September, October, as more people who want to buy condos can now get back in, look at different units now that they're not as rented or rented as often, and make some buying decisions. So let's take a look at the numbers. This is the entire Gulffront market. We have a few. Remember, the red line is our number of units for sale. We did have a few more units for sale on the market in August than we did compared to July. The big takeaway, again, remember, months of inventory. Let's focus on this for a second. So January, remember, we were at 0.51 months of inventory, half a month. Extremely, extremely hot. If theoretically that means that any condo that would come up for sale would go through the entire process of marketing, showings, contract negotiations, and closing in a half a month, like 14, 15 days to work through the whole process. That's how intense the market was. That's how hot it was. We knew, if you watched the last video, we've been slowing down incrementally. June, we were at 3.22 months of inventory. And what I was struck by was a pretty big leap then to 7.68 months of inventory in July, which means not only are we now taking 7 months to sell condos, quite a bit slower than we were in January, but also it's a pretty important thing that happens here, because now 4 to 5 months of inventory is neutral. Remember, we've now drifted into buyer market territory. The important thing there, depending on what side of the transaction you're on, for buyers, that means you have a lot more negotiating power. You certainly have many more choices. For sellers, we're really going to have to watch this, or for owners of real estate, we'll have to watch this, because the longer we stay in buyer market territory, obviously there's going to be pressure on pricing to come down. That means there's more sellers in the market, more people want to sell condos. At some point, 4, 5, 6, 7 months into the process, some people are going to want to sell and they're going to reduce pricing. Other people will reduce pricing, and that overall can start to pull pricing down a little bit. We did jump to 11 months of inventory in August, which is a pretty severe, is probably a little bit strong of a word, but is very, very much a buyer market. So 2 months now that we've been in buyer market territory. I want to get to Calypso in just a second. Unfortunately, my local MLS system won't allow me to search for all condos built since 2006 and take out Shores of Panama. There are a ton of units for sale in Shores of Panama right now. Panama, I want to say there's like 85 units for sale. If you see this, there's 210 units total. In fact, let me get you the count really quick. So for Shores of Panama right now, of these 210 units that are for sale on the beach, for everything that's newer than built since 2006, there are 80 units for sale of the 210. So that 11.06 is a little bit inflated, quite a bit inflated, because there's so many units for sale in Shores of Panama. If you want to know more about that, call me. I can walk you through all that. Let's look at Calypso specifically now. Calypso actually improved quite a bit. We're going to start looking at the entire project, towers 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to show you, kind of break it down by each building, and then go into sales and sale prices. So Calypso, same thing had been happening here, about a half a month of inventory in January. We had really hit the brakes in June and July, 20 months of inventory in June, which was shocking. July, we got a little bit better to 12.75, but like we're talking about right now, still a very healthy buyer's market. We're back down to right about neutral in August. 8 listings were sold. Only 5 new condos came up for sale. because of this amount of sales, when we have a ton of sales, obviously that's showing demand. So for at least 1 month, we're far improved, much more improved from if you own real estate, you're in Calypso, you're glad to see this because there's a little less pressure on pricing now than there had been the previous couple months. If we look at just the Gulffront towers, and then we'll look at Tower 3 next, similar story like you would expect. January, we were at 0.71 months of inventory. We were inflated in June to 18, got a little better in July. We're better again in August. We're actually even closer to probably neutral, maybe even touch of a seller's market because of all the sales that happened. 4 of those sales did happen on the Gulf side. I'm going to show you that in a second. Tower 3, same story, much better than it has been. January, February, we were at 1 month of inventory. We inflated to 2, 5, 17, 27, 33 months of inventory in Tower 3. That's, think about it. That's taking 3 years to sell a condo. Much improved market there, a lot more activity. It doesn't take a lot of activity to move these numbers around. Instead of selling 1 unit per month that we had seen over the last 3 months, we sold 4 in August. So there's 8 months of inventory now. That's still a little bit of a buyer's market in Tower 3. So if you're selling in Tower 3, you've got to be a little bit better with pricing. Marketing has to be that much better. I think the market in general is still trying to learn and figure out what Tower 3 is going to be. It's such a new thing. There's certainly certain floor plans that seem to be getting more interest than others from buyers. There's certainly certain sections of the building, whether it's a certain floor height, whether it's a certain side. So that's playing into this also. So depending on what you do own in there, of course, that we have to take all that into account. But in short, much stronger market in August across the board at Calypso than we had seen the previous couple months. So to show you just sales prices from the month of August, let me show you here. So Tower 1, 1404 closed at $820,000. It was actually about an $825,000 sale because of some things that happened between all the parties. I worked on that one. $790,000 closed, 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a bunk. Tower 2, 1804 also closed at $820,000, which again was about an $825,000 sale legitimately. I worked on that one also. Tower 2, 406 just closed yesterday, $830,000. That one was more like about an $838,000 sale because of some things that happened. I worked on that one also. In short, those 3 sales I mentioned, Tower 1, 1404, Tower 2, 1804, and Tower 2, 406, it was the same seller, and because of some factors of some negotiations and the same buyer, there were some discounts with some fees worked into there. So 3 sales there that we worked on. Tower 3, 1604, 1-bedroom closed at $480,000. Tower 3, Unit 903 closed at $510,000. Tower 3, Unit 910 closed at $495,000. And Tower 3, Unit 1010 closed at $527,900. So looking forward, just from what I've seen in the last 10 or 14 days, it seems like the buyers have come out of the woodwork a little bit. 2-3 months ago, as interest rates started to move up, as we were well into the stock market pulling back, very generally, there was a lot of pessimism in the overall economy. All those things, of course, are factoring into buying decisions when you're trying to buy a condo. Seems that the last 2 weeks I think in general, we've written far more contracts to sell condos. I'm seeing the buyers who are making the purchase, for the most part, aren't speculating. They're buying for some very kind of back to real estate fundamentals. They're buying for the long term. They're looking for good value. So those 3 units we sold on the Gulf side were all very nice updated units. Anything that's updated can still get a premium in the market. Buyers are looking for that. Buyers are buying for the long term. They're buying for anything that makes sense with good rental revenue to support a purchase price if they're going to do something with rentals. So fundamentals are playing into it more and more and more. The better floor plans and the better buildings that are in better condition, that are well marketed, are seeing a lot of interest. So all those things are extremely important. I'm now even more interested to see what the numbers will look like next month, just because we've improved so much just in 30 days that I'm curious to see now, if do we keep this momentum going forward. September can be a good month for condo sales normally, because now we really are getting into a time of year where more units are easier to show. If that's the case, it should be easier for buyers to make some decisions. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the market, worst case, maybe stay flat. Maybe it improves slightly. I don't think we'll go gangbusters and get hot like we saw earlier this year, the last couple years. But at the very least, I would think that pricing should hold pretty steady. Anyone who's gotten a little ambitious with their pricing may be sitting on the market, maybe not getting the showings of some other units. But anyone who's priced appropriately based off of what's been selling should be still getting some steady normal activity. Normal activity in real estate, again, if it's taking us 4, 5, 6 months to sell something, a handful of showings per week is a pretty good steady thing. If you're not getting that, then there's something that probably needs to be adjusted. But again, it's taking us a little longer to sell something, but prices, we don't have the massive pressure on pricing at this point, even though there's a lot of things in the overall economy that are pointing to some negativity. So far, prices holding in condos. Calypso is doing very well, much better than it did last month. There's 12 minutes of data for you. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back with you next month for some more information. Thanks.